Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Animation Pilgrimage, where we watch every single theatrically released animated film in order. I'm Sean.
And I'm Tennille.
And this week we are talking about The Scarlet Flower from 1952. It is another Soviet Russia film.
You should say Soviet Union or Russia, because it was the USSR. So.
Okay.
Either way.
I don't know what order all of that happened.
I mean, no one does. It's okay.
I'm sure some people do.
Russian history is very complicated, though.
I'm sure some of the people in Russia could tell us.
I'm sure. Anyway,
way.
though. The Scarlet Flower, yes, 1952. This is essentially Russian Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not Beauty and the Beast, but it's a very, very similar story.
Yes. Apparently it is based off of an older story.
By the same name of the Scarlet Flower, or
Yeah.
whatever its Russian name is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, a lot of fairy tales have...
Very similar story structure.
Well, I mean, no, there's a lot of similar stories throughout history. Even if, culture divided them and stuff. Like, take the story of the flood in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
In almost every culture, or at least I've heard this been said before, there is a story of a flood.
Okay.
As some kind of, like, fairy tale or myth or, oral history or something like that. So, like, it's not surprising to see a story like Beauty and the Beast in another culture.
Yeah. And when we say it's like Beauty and the Beast, it's very similar.
Oh yeah, like, if you know the story of Beauty and the Beast,
You're
and
gonna
not like the Disney version, like the old fairy tale version of it,
Mm-hmm.
this is essentially it.
Yeah. So I guess to go over the plot,
A man has 3 daughters.
a ship captain.
Yes, a ship captain has 3 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And he's home on break, and he asks them, if you promise to be good, I'll bring you back something. I'll bring back anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
And the oldest daughter asks for a crown to make her look pretty. The second daughter asks for a magic mirror that will...
Make her look young.
Yeah, that
Always makes her look young.
always makes her look young. And then the third daughter asks for a
Scarlet Flower.
scarlet flower that she saw once in her dreams.
Yep.
Yep.
So the dude's like, all right, I will find these things and I'll see you at some time in the future, whatever. So he takes off and he goes all about the world and sells his wares and stuff, and he finds a mirror that does actually make you look younger.
Mm-hmm. The
And-
crown's easy to find.
Yeah, the crown he just finds, like, oh look, it's a crown. Got it.
Got-y.
And then they're searching and they're just going to like strange foreign areas and like, we can't find the flower.
Go figure, because she literally dreamed about it.
Yeah, and then there's a storm.
But don't worry, she's the favorite daughter, so he really is determined to find it.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, there's a storm because we're on a boat. Of course there's a storm. So it's like, all right, there's 2 things that are going to happen here. Either 1, the ship is going to get destroyed, or 2, the main character is going to get swept off the boat.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember, like, after he got swept off the boat, you're like, and there it is.
Yep. It's like...
And I'm just like, yep.
It's like, there's a dude going on a ship. There will be a storm.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's just cause and effect in these stories.
Well, it's like Chekhov's gun.
Yeah.
You can't introduce a gun and not have it be shot.
Mm-hmm. You can't
writing a
introduce a
story.
boat and not wreck it.
Exactly.
So, the main character gets tossed overboard in the storm, and he ends up on this magical island where things are just appearing, and there's like this beautiful
It's a
castle.
magic it's like this big magical palace.
Mm-hmm. And he asks for food, and food just appears, and he gets beautiful music played for him and stuff, and he's just like, this
having
is
a swell old time.
having a swell time, even though he is by himself. And then he wanders around and finds the garden, and wouldn't you know it, there it is, the beautiful, gorgeous, overly shiny, sparkly Scarlet Flower. And he picks it, and the whole island goes to shit.
Yeah, and then a voice, like...
Well, not just a voice, but you see the creature as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, why did you take my most precious object? And he's like, I didn't know it was yours. I'm still taking it, though.
My beautiful daughter wants it.
Oh, your beautiful daughter, you say? Well, all right. Here, have this magic ring. It will teleport you back. Or it's like, if you put this on, you will be teleported back here, because for penance of taking my flower, either you or one of your daughters must come and live here with me. Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Because he's like this ugly swamp monster thing with sad eyes.
He's kind of cute.
Yeah. So Dad is like, I could never do that to my daughters. And then he goes back to the beach, and wouldn't you know it, his ship has found him. So they take him home, and he gives the gifts to the girls.
They all love him.
And then Dad is talking to his first mate. He's like, I gotta put on this ring tomorrow morning. So you have to be dad to these girls now.
Yeah, so please take care of my daughters. But the youngest daughter overhears, and she's like, oh no, I caused this.
Even though she had no idea it was because the flower was taken.
We'll assume that's something lost in translation there. But so yeah, she goes in the middle of the night and puts on the ring, and she's like, don't worry, Dad, I'll take care of this. And then she puts on the ring, and she gets teleported away.
And the beauty is now with the Beast. And then...
We really don't spend a whole lot of time here, because the movie's, like, this is a big chunk of the movie, and the movie's only 42 minutes long.
Yeah, this is the halfway point.
Oh yeah, for sure. If not even further along.
Yeah. So, now that we're here, the Beast talks to... Nastica.
Yeah, it's like Nausicaa, but Russian.
Nastica.
Yeah.
It looks like it's spelled Nastenka.
Yeah, Nastenka.
But I don't... Yeah,
Nastica.
Nastica. I don't know if the N even shows up when you're supposed to pronounce it.
Not sure. I'm sorry to our Russian audience if we are butchering a fairly common name.
We just don't know Russian very well at all. So... the guy's like, you must stay here forever, but you're not a prisoner. But he's like, you can leave whenever you want with this magic ring, but if you do, I will die of sadness. And she's like, I could never do that to you.
You can leave whenever you want, but if you do, I'll die.
So she's living here and is obviously fairly miserable, even though...
no, she's okay.
It's like, there's all these pretty things and stuff like that, but it's like...
He gives her whatever she wants.
She's still being held there mostly against her will, and she's not happy, and she's like, oh, I miss my family, and he's like, well, go visit them and then come back.
Yeah, you can visit them until 8 o'clock, but you better be back by 8, or I will die!
Oh man, we are peaking the audio pretty badly.
Well, it's just so dramatic. Like, you have to be back.
I have a broken heart.
If you miss curfew, I will die.
I must die.
Like, okay, dude, calm down, please.
So she teleports back, and her family's like, oh my god, you're alive and stuff.
We've missed you so much. Except
Also,
her
his sisters are like, hey, you got any gifts for us? And then she's like, here, boop, boop, have giant chests of stuff, because they're terrible sisters.
Yeah.
And then they're like, hey, she gave us these tiny little chests. She's got to have a lot of stuff back there.
This isn't fair. we should have been the ones to go to a magic castle and stuff.
So they turn back the clocks and cover up the windows so she can't see that the sun is setting at 8 o'clock. So she's like, I feel like I need to get going. And they're like, no, don't worry about it. Just stay.
Right. You haven't been here that long. Why are you trying to leave already?
You know, being terrible influences and...
Well, just terrible human beings.
Terrible human beings. Don't do this to people. If someone wants to leave, let them leave. In whatever situation it is.
Yeah, I'm just like... They're just one-note asshole characters.
Basic bitches.
Exactly.
So she uncovers the window and finds, oh no, the sun is already set, and she teleports back and everything's ruined again, and her beast boy is dead. He died of sadness.
Well, and she literally did like go back at 8.
No, it was after 8.
It was only like a little after.
Well,
An hour at most.
Yeah.
An hour at most.
I think it was 2 hours.
Are you
because
sure?
I'm pretty sure the sisters set the clock back 2 hours.
Okay.
And so when it hit 8 o'clock, it was already past 8.
Still, dude, 2 hours.
Yeah. So she's like, oh no, he died. And then she cries on the flower, which then breaks the curse because he was actually
Beauty and the Beast.
because he was actually a prince in disguise. And he's like, you learned to love me even though I was ugly. Again,
A witch cursed me when I was
which cursed
young.
me, but you cried on her flower and so she's dead. I think he literally says that she's dead or she's been slain or defeated or something.
I think just she's been defeated, which could have multiple meanings.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, now you get me, this lovely blonde prince boy, and they lived happily ever after. And in her heart, she's like, darn, I was hoping for
Swamp monster.
swampy moss man with sad eyes that I could make happy. The end.
I remember you just being like, when he turns into a human, you're like, aw, man.
It's the same thing as Beauty and the Beast. It's like, oh, he's not. Oh, you're boring.
You're boring now.
No. Wear this fur coat and put this mask on, please.
Can you just cry all the time so it looks like you have those sad eyes again?
So that's the story of this. It's a fairly short story, and again, it's fairly much the Beauty and the Beast story if you know it.
Obviously, we've been showing you clips of this movie and stuff so far.
But this one's been beautifully preserved.
Well, that and wow, the color palette of this film is amazing.
Well, that's what I mean. It's actually been correctly preserved, and it's actually bright and colorful.
Yeah.
And vibrant. And you can tell that they don't have Technicolor yet because everything is red and green. But they do such a good job.
Well, and
with
I
this
guess I
limited color palette.
I don't know if we've necessarily talked about that recently, but
yes.
the whole Technicolor thing. So Disney, for a really long time in the U.S., held copyrights to Technicolor. So nobody else could use it, and that kind of gave Disney a boost.
Edge.
Yeah, it gave them an edge. Because they could make beautiful,
Full color, yeah.
films.
Everyone else was kind of just stuck with a couple of specific colors.
Yeah, like red and green. And then, like shades in between that. And at this point, I'm pretty sure Technicolor is available to anyone.
Okay.
But
Makes you wonder if it was actually available in Russia, though.
yeah, it's like, but I don't know if that technology had been brought over to Russia yet, or if this studio just didn't have the money to
Pay for it,
or chose not to,
Who
like there
knows?
could be many factors of it. But man, this film is an A+ example of how to work
with a limited color palette.
well, just when you're limited. When you're limited, you've got to make choices that reflect that in order to make your film look good. And this film does that beautifully. This film, like, you could show to a modern audience and you know, some of the like way people act, like the way the script is written, like that kind of thing, that would obviously be dated. And people would recognize that. But just the color palette alone, I think, would impress people still to this day.
Yeah, I would agree. And kind of along the same lines, this movie was fully rotoscoped again.
Oh, yeah.
Just like the last Russian film we watched. It seems to be a very common use for them. But it makes sense because it's the easiest way to do animation at this point.
Yeah. Well, and they do the same thing that we've seen in a lot of the other Russian films where it's like the stylized faces.
Yes.
Yeah, and I really like this art direction. The animation, of course,
is limited by the fact that it is stop motion. Or not stop motion, sorry.
Rotoscope.
Rotoscope. Why did I say stop motion?
Right, so they're kind of limited to what they filmed, and, you know, at times you can probably look at the animation and guess, like, oh, well, they didn't really
know what they were supposed to be. The actors didn't know what they were supposed to be doing in this scene, so they're just kind of moving in some way. They're like, I hope this works. I'm waving my arms around. I'm teleporting. Woo!
Well, and just when you heavily rotoscope films like this, everything moves so slow.
Yes.
And animation is something that
works better.
It doesn't have to be snappy, but it should be faster than real life.
Yes. You have the ability to be faster than real life.
So you should, because that's just more appealing to watch.
Of course.
But yeah, this was a interesting film.
Yeah.
I would recommend it for the color palette and just for the fact that, you know, it's a different take on Beauty and the Beast that most people haven't seen.
Yeah, and I feel like I've probably heard this variation at some point. I
know I have.
And of course, the only big issues I really have with this film is like the bad morals of guilt tripping people that you love into doing things for you.
Yeah.
Because that's not okay.
No.
So don't tell people you'll die if they don't do something for you or stay with them.
Yeah.
That's not okay. You should leave them immediately. And never come back.
Yeah. But also, don't be a bratty sister and
sabotage their happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dad in this movie is pretty A+, though. He's pretty cool. I don't remember him doing anything. It's like, eh.
I mean, he accidentally stole a flower and then refused to give it back. So that was kind of a shitty thing to do. But other than that, he did a good job. And he's like, now daughters, I should have raised you better, but oh well.
Oh well.
I'll just keep getting you gifts. So, I don't know.
He was an okay dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, interesting film. So next time we have one more USSR film. We have The Snow Maiden.
The Snow Maiden, also from 1952.
Yeah.
So technically that movie might have come out before this one, but we could not find exact dates. So
yeah, we couldn't find a release date.
Yep. So we're just doing them in alphabetical order.
Yeah. So next time, The Snow Maiden. We will see you guys next time.
Bye.